thrown them into the Stone Age, Vlad, Trump understood what he was doing in Ukraine. Tomorrow in Saudi Arabia, another round of negotiations between the delegations of Russia and the United States will be held. No European Union members there, and they're having a hissy fit. Russia will be represented by the chairman of the Federation Council Committee on International Affairs, Grigory Karashin, and the advisor to the director of the FSB, General Sergei Beseda. And on the American side, the attendees will be high-ranking officials with a technical role, while the agenda and results of the meeting will be overseen by the U.S. President's Special Envoy for the Middle East, Steve Witkoff. It's characteristic that the announcements about this meeting do not mention the achievement of any significant agreement. As the Wall Street Journal writes, the discussions will focus on the ceasefire in the Black Sea and on infrastructure issues. However, a full ceasefire is unlikely to be discussed yet. One might ask, why did the Russian president personally select specific individuals for the delegation if only individual issues were supposed to be discussed, which can be considered on a daily basis without the need for such high-level consultations? First, it's worth looking at the composition of the Russian delegation. Senator Grigory Karasin, a former deputy foreign minister of Russia, was responsible for diplomatic relations with Ukraine for over a decade and knows the issue in detail. Sergei Beseda, on the other hand, headed the FSB Operation Intelligence and International Relations Service, which monitored the political situation in Ukraine. According to some reports, during the Maidan, he was, of course, in Kiev to ensure the security of the Russian embassy and other Russian institutions. Assuming that the main topic of the negotiations is security in the Black Sea, it's strange why the issue has been assigned to specialists involved in Ukrainian internal politics. Shortly before the talks, Karasin said, "We have one issue that we will deal with immediately. We cannot count on solutions for the entire agenda." It's quite possible that this issue is not the ceasefire in the Black Sea, which by and large does not affect anything. Also interesting is yesterday's interview with Tucker Carlson by Witkoff, which immediately went viral. It's difficult to imagine a key American negotiator praising a foreign leader, but in Witkoff's case, it was an ode to Putin. Trump's special envoy called the Russian president a genius, quote-unquote, and a great leader, quote-unquote, with whom Trump wants to repair relations. He also said that Americans are looking forward to a personal meeting between the two leaders and that tremendous progress has been made after a recent communication between them. At the same time, he categorically denied any Russian threat to Europe while revealing that Trump was moved when Putin gave him a portrait of him by a famous Russian artist. We must understand what Witkoff would not make. He would not make such statements about any other leader. He is not just a diplomat, but one of Trump's closest friends for 40 years. Since the 1980s, they've been collaborated on major investments in New York. While Trump called him a deal genius, Witkoff was present during Trump's most difficult moments and had the authority to independently negotiate the peace agreement between Israel and Hamas. In his interview, Witkoff hinted that the U.S. is not having any success on the Ukraine issue. For example, he said that Zelensky and his chief of staff, Andrei Yermak, have largely agreed that Ukraine will not become a member of NATO. Everyone understands that this wording does not mean a clear commitment. Accordingly, he said that the Ukrainian authorities agree on elections but did not specify when, which means that Zelensky probably accepts them only after the end of the war. The combination of flattery for Putin and Witkoff, implicit admission of failure, means that Trump, through his trusted envoy, is asking Russia for help to break the deadlock. It seems that Americans are only now beginning to understand the chaos in Ukraine, from the widespread corruption to the mental instability of the leadership in Kiev. We're talking about Zelensky, of course. A former advisor to Zelensky revealed that the head of Ukrainian intelligence service, Budanov, has been planning for 1.5 years to blow up Ukrainian nuclear power plants if defeat approaches. Trump is beginning to realize that the only reasonable interlocutor is Russia, where the leadership in Kiev threatens, while the leadership in Kiev threatens his political future. The destruction of the Sunza gas hub immediately after the agreement with Putin for a 30-day ceasefire was a slap in the face to Trump. With the insane, threats don't work, only lobotomy does. And it seems Trump is starting to understand why Russia is acting the way it is. The quickest way to end the war and take credit is to not prevent Russia from completing its work. And that's why the Russian delegation is going to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, to make it clear to the United States that there is no velvet solution. The patient is dead and they need to bury him as soon as possible. And then most importantly, don't stand in the way because the coffin might fall into your hands. Please leave your comments about this and thank you for your support. It's by Kirill Stanikov. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.